Welcome back to another edition of Real Recognizes Real, where I am your host, College Cottrell. And this week we have Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina. Now, this is a fun one. I feel like I low key say that every week, but this is a fun one because this is a player that's very dynamic. And, when you get to see a ton of home run plays, it's fun to watch. So, really, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. So, we will start with the pros, and I'll start off right where I just said there, and that's the explosion in his game. He has the ability to hit the home run at any given moment. Like you put the ball in his hands, there's a chance that the ball might end up in the end zone, and that's always great from the running back position. Next thing I love about him is his physicality. He's going to run through every single arm tackle. A lot of times, he's not going to be taken down by one tackler. You have to have multiple guys ganging up to tackle him. Last season, he was third in all of FBS with his broken tackles, and I think that is something that will translate because he is a big physical running back. Next thing I love about him is his patience. He waits for those blocks to develop, and I'm just going to tie these two in together here because just right there next I have vision. He waits for everything to develop. It's almost like he sees things developing before they actually happen. He knows that if he has a guard or a tackle that's pulling to his side, he knows who they're responsible for, when he needs to make certain cuts, and ultimately how to make his blocks work for him. So I love seeing that with his game. He's smart, he's physical, he has the home run speed. It's basically everything you're looking for in a running back. Now on the cons, it's tough to really say because a lot of his cons don't show up on film to me. So you'll actually notice this week, I don't even have any plays where it's specifically like this is the issue with him. However, what I noticed on film a lot was his route running, like him in the passing game. While he can be dynamic, you put the ball in his hands, he's going to make something happen. He just has a very vanilla route tree. And when I say that, a lot of his stuff was him going to the flat, him going on just these short little curl routes and things like that. You're not asking him to go beat a linebacker in the passing game, or go beat a safety in the passing game to have a big play. You're just saying, hey, we need you to go out there, do the bare minimum, maybe get you involved. If you're looking for a true pass catching back, Omarion Hampton's not going to be your guy. But like I said, he can catch and he is explosive with the ball in his hands, so you can make do with it. The other thing I noticed is that his pass pro, he takes care of business, but at times it can be a little inconsistent. Now, I didn't see anything where it was just like a full lack of effort, which is why I didn't want to include some of those plays, but it was just like, that could be better. I guess it got the job done kind of thing. To just put it simply, he's no Travion Henderson where he's just going to blow him up. And, that's a guy you can definitely depend on third down. However, with that said, he's not going to necessarily make mistakes either. He's just going to be, if the quarterback gets it out on time, you're perfectly fine there, but he's not going to be the guy to stonewall a blitzing linebacker or, double team an end or chip an end and things like that consistently there. But that is okay. I think that's something he can learn. And again, he's physical, so I don't know if it's a lack of want to per se. I don't want to put that on him. I just don't think in the North Carolina offense he was really tasked to do that. So I do think it could potentially be something that he could learn to do. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into his player comp. And for me, this one was tough because you don't really find running backs that have his size, his athleticism, and his power all blended together with his speed. So for me, I ultimately went with Josh Jacobs. And I went with Josh Jacobs because just thinking about Josh, he's very powerful. He likes to run through those arm tackles. I would say he is a average pass catcher. And while I do think Omarion is a better athlete and definitely faster than what Josh Jacobs is, Josh Jacobs definitely can get away from people. He can have those big plays. And I mean, we've seen that success that he's had so far, early on in his career there. So I think Josh Jacobs is a great comparison for him. And Josh Jacobs is a bell cow. He just got paid from the Packers there. So I do think that Josh Jacobs can be a good comp. And I think Omarion Hampton has the ability to be a top 10 running back in the league. But with all of that said, let's go ahead and get into the film. And, I want to show you why I believe he can be that top 10 running back. Of course, again, we have 3 games. This week, I have a game against Clemson from 2023, just to kind of show what he can do against NFL level defenders. I mean, Clemson always has a great defense so I just wanted to show you guys that, but then also brought in a couple of games from 2024 as well, one against NC State and one against Wake Forest, to also show how he developed over that year and, ultimately just show you where he's at right now and what he can bring to the NFL franchise. So we will start with the game from 2023, just because I feel like that makes the most sense here. And this is against Clemson. The first play I have here, let's take a look, see what happens here. So he gets it, running through an arm tackle, like I mentioned before. He gets the edge there, and there's no looking back. He has that speed. He has that breakaway ability there. I mean, that's exactly what you want. Of course, North Carolina blocked it up well here, but even just seeing it from the end zone angle here. So you see that the tight end comes in motion there. And again, they block it up well, but you have to get through an arm tackle and the linebacker coming down. He also has the speed to get to the sideline. And once he's there in the open field, there is no catching him. So great play ultimately from Omarion Hampton there. We will move on to the second play, where I think he shows off a little bit more of that vision that he has. So let's go here. I'll just let that play through just a little bit. All right, perfect. So see here, gets the snap. North Carolina did like to use a lot of the people that pull, but he got through the hole there. And then I think you see it a little bit better here from the end zone view. But so he gets through. We'll stop it right here. I get it. That's definitely a hole that a running back should hit. But this is kind of a small hole. I mean, you're going right off of your left guard's hip here. And you have this defender from Clemson that seems like he's filling this gap here. But I mean, he could easily come over here and try and make this play. So I think Omarion, this is a disciplined running back here who knows how to hit the hole and make the most out of what's given there. He gets there, then he gets to the outside and gets as many yards as possible. I mean, I think that's exactly what you would want from a running back in that position. Now moving on here, I did have a couple reps of him being pretty sound in pass pro that I definitely wanted to share with you. So we'll go to the 11:30 mark here. All right, and then just to kind of paint the picture as well, this is Drake May's junior year at North Carolina. So they actually did have a pretty decent passing game as well here. This is a pretty dynamic duo here. And just as like a sidebar, I think if they had Drake May in 2024, North Carolina might have been a team that made the playoff. Omarion was on such another level. Just felt like they had inconsistent quarterback play, and of course their defense let them down a bunch, as you saw with all the high scorers in the games they had. But just kind of getting back on track here with Omarion. So Clemson, obviously, they send the blitzer from the top of the screen here. And I think he does a pretty good job in picking this up. Stonewalls him. Again, nothing special, but gives Drake enough time to get the ball to the receiver and ultimately pick up the first down there. So you'll see it again here from the end zone view. They send the blitzer late. He picks it up pretty well. Again, nothing special there, but giving Drake a clean pocket to make the pass and pick up the first down. Now, the very next play is what I mean here with the dynamic duo between them. So gets through. You're not getting him down with an arm tackle. He's a home run hitter. And anytime you can get him through that first level, he has the ability to take it to the end zone for 6. So we'll take a look at it again here. They pull the tight end, and he splits them, make sure they can't tackle him. He has the speed, breaks out of the ankle tackle attempt from Jeremiah Trotter Jr. there, and gets into the end zone. That's what I mean when I say Omarion Hampton's film was fun to watch, because there was just plays like this all over the place. Now we will move to the 13:50 59 mark in this one. We got this play and then one more before we move on to the next game. Again, notice the theme there. You seen somebody pull. He bows through the first tackler there, and he's basically a missed tackle waiting to happen. So you see it again here from the end zone view. Clemson actually had a free rusher here, essentially. I mean, that's a free shot. It was a bad angle, but really a free shot on Omarion Hampton here. And then he breaks through the tackle attempt by Jeremiah Trotter, who, again, is a guy who I had a lot of respect for last year. I mean, I had him as a top 5 linebacker in the class, so that is no easy feat there. But that just shows the physicality that he has and the fact that most of the time that first tackler is not going to be able to get him down by himself. Now we'll move on to the last play in this game that I wanted to show. 18-13 marker. So we'll start at 18-14. So let's do this. Perfect. All right. So again, you see North Carolina. This is the scheme for him. You want guys to pull just because I feel like that's what he works best, the system that he works best in. But breaks out of that tackle attempt and gets into the end zone. I mean, you have a bell cow like that on the goal line. I mean, it's easy. Give him the football. We will find a way to put points up on the board. So again, guy got through free. He carries 2 defenders into the end zone for the touchdown. Can't say it enough. That's a guy who I'd want on my football team. And I know running backs don't typically go in the first round anymore, but I think Omarion Hampton is a guy who's earned the right to be your first round pick. And especially if you're a team that's up there late, I don't want to necessarily put a team on it, but especially those teams later on in the first round there, where not necessarily saying you're a running back away, but this is a guy that can add so much. Like a team that I think about would be like Denver. Like Denver obviously has their running back woes, and they were really a committee last year. But just as much as Sean Payton loves throwing the ball, I just feel like if you're a team like that who was a playoff team last year and you just want some more consistency at running back, this would be a perfect fit for you. But let's go ahead and move on to the second game. And this is the first game of the season against NC State of the 2024 season. So I got this listed as him being physical. So let's take a look and see what happens here. So again, they pull, they run counter. He gets through the gap there, runs through that arm tackle. No chance. You're not getting him down. You see it's a gang of red that ultimately have to get him down on the ground there. So we'll see it again from the end zone view here. North Carolina, they pull. He gets through, sees the vision, gets through the gap there. Easy. You're not getting him down with the arm tackle, reaching and grabbing. That's not going to put Omarion on the turf there. So great, tone setter for this game. Now let's move forward here. The next play we're going to go to 8:35. A little bit more of a slow burn in this game. He took him a little while to get going, but once he did, there was no stopping him. All right. So again, they pull. He gets through, breaks that tackle, and then picks up about 12 more yards after the first guy was wrapped around him. And you see all the flags fly. That was just late hit by the offensive lineman. But look at it again here. Counter, gets through. Oh, that's beautiful. You talk about the offensive lineman help pushing him, but that's a guy who has to squat a ton to be able to keep everybody off of him. And I mean, look at this here. So you see, I mean, obviously there is a gap here. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely a gap. But to be able to shrug off 34 in the hole there as you're still getting your momentum, and then you go after that attempt, pick up 12 more yards with 3-4 guys on your back. Talk about physicality. Talk about being a workhorse. That's the guy who I want on my football team, toting the rock throughout the course of a game. Moving on here, it looks like we're about one play later. We will get to some good vision from him. All right. More pulling, more Omarion Hampton success. So gets through the hole, breaks the tackle there, picks up the first down. Nice little 10-yard gain. Now let's look at it from the end zone view, and I will pause it a little bit more in here. So, boom. So you see it. They pull their offensive lineman. There is a small hole there. It looks like the defender actually has a good angle at it. I mean, he is getting blocked right now, but um, they do a good job of clearing that up. He gets through there, makes that guy miss. He's elusive in the hole there. First guy's not going to get him to the ground. Again, goes through the tackle attempt from number 7 there, and then picks up another first down. Can't say it enough. Great stuff from him. Now, next up, we have a pass pro from him that I wanted to spotlight. And again, I know I said it's nothing to really write home about with him, but when he does perform well in the pass pro, I do want to spotlight that as well. So we'll take a look at this one here. Boom. He met him up there, gave a perfect window, and ultimately it led to a touchdown. We'll look at it again here from the end zone view. NC State was pretty much sending an all-out blitz. Quarterback recognizes that, gives the check, and Omarion knows what he has to do. Everybody's on the line. You take care. The offensive lineman did a great job here picking up the 5 guys there. But then also, Omarion, he takes the work to that blitzing linebacker, puts his head down, stonewalls him at the line there, and gives his quarterback enough time to make the throw and ultimately get a touchdown up on the board there. Now we are going to move on to the 19-19 mark here, and this is a home run play. So let's take a look here. All right, 25-yard line. They give Omarion the ball. Again, you get a guy that pulls. He goes through the hole there. And I mean, you give him that much runway, there is no catching this guy. He has the speed to take it all the way. But that's what I'm talking about. That is the power mixed with the speed. I mean, we've seen all the break tackle attempts that he's had so far. But again, you give him that runway, you're not catching him in the open field. It's just not going to happen. I'm taking him in a foot race over a lot of people. So just kind of shows you his ability to break the game open at any point in time there. We're going to move on towards the end of the game. This is a game that got tight down the stretch. You see there it was 26-23 in the fourth quarter. We're going to move on to 28-09 is where we're going. All right, perfect. So it's 29-23. And North Carolina has the ball. It's about 2 minutes left in the game to just kind of paint the picture here. So they got the ball in 35. They give it to him. Takes off. I mean, that just shows you the ability to put the team on his back here. So 1 missed tackle, 2 missed tackles, 3 missed tackles, and then ultimately loses balance, gets out of bounds there. So now North Carolina setting the scene again here. It's 2 minutes left in the football game. They're down 6. So we're going to go to the last play that we'll look at from this game, and it's going to be from the 28-42 mark. There was a penalty there, moving them back a little bit, but we'll get Omarion Hampton. Let's see what he does with the game on the line. They run a little shovel pass for him. All the open field in the world. You got guys chasing them. They're trying to get the angle. That's not happening. When you give him a runway, it is going to be a long, long day for your defense. And this is to put the game out of hand. This is to go out and win a football game early in the season. As a running back, this is how you change the dynamic of a football game. And I know I'm not making this comparison to him, but you've seen the way that Saquon Barkley has changed the game at the next level. And again, this isn't me saying that he's going to go be Saquon Barkley, but I've seen how Saquon can change the effect of the game in college. Omarion Hampton was able to put that kind of stamp on a football game. Now, ultimately, North Carolina went out and lost this game because their defense couldn't do anything. As you just saw, final score was 35-30, but it was no fault of Omarion. He did everything that he could do in that one. And that's what you want. You want your players to make plays and be able to be, relied upon in the biggest moments of those games. Now we will move on here to the final game. That was a game against Wake Forest. We just got 5 plays in this one, and then we will be all wrapped up with Omarion. But again, this just really shows you the consistency that he has throughout there. So first play against Wake Forest, we're starting off, it looks like, with the home run. So 4-11, we're pretty early in this game here. But they give it to him. Just really kind of an inside zone play there. Goes through. I mean, picks up, does exactly what he's supposed to do. I mean, nothing necessarily special with that one, but again, big chunk plays there. He hits the right hole. He's patient. I mean, look at those feet chop. I love that angle that we got there. And again, I think it shows a little bit more of the patience there as well. So, all right. So obviously it's there. You can see the hole. I mean, he could easily just hit that and, try and go there. But you see the feet patter. It reminds me, this part of his game reminds me a lot of Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon was a great pass catcher. That's why I didn't want to throw that comparison or attach that comparison to Omarion. But his patience and his vision reminds me a ton of Le'Veon Bell coming out of Michigan State here. So you see the feet kind of tap dance there a little bit, and it's not wasted movement. He's just waiting for everything to get set up. He knows this lineman is going to clear that out for him, which gives him more of a runway to just get straight through there. You're not getting him down, diving at the ankles there. He picks up what he can. I think that's just a great display of the skill that he has and just kind of the mindset that he has when going through the motions of setting up these run plays. Now, I believe this was actually the very next play where he probably felt like he let one get away, and then he sets it up, gets through there, another big time chunk play. And he's one of those guys, if he gets going, I mean, look out. So North Carolina, they pull their tight end, which is, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here when I keep saying that. You want to get guys out in front of Omarion, and he's going to make the big time plays happen. But let's go ahead and move on to 9-10. He's going to show off a little bit more of the vision there. I'll go 906. Kind of see all the setup here. All right, no surprise. They put the tight end in motion. Slows down. Oh, make another nice cut. And gets the ball down in the red zone for that North Carolina team here. So we'll see it again from the end zone view. So gets to the outside. Nothing special there. You got a whole lot of green grass out there in front of you. But this is what I talk about with patience. I mean, he can beat you. He can run through you. He can also stop on a dime, cut back inside, make another man miss. And, I mean, let's just take a quick look at that. Go back 10 seconds here. So, makes this guy miss about the 28-yard line. I mean, a lot of people, you kind of take this game. This is a first down for North Carolina. There's a lot of running backs that would kind of just take this, try to run through that defender that's right there. But no, instead, he sticks his foot, makes another guy miss, and ultimately ends up at about the 8-yard line, 8-yard line. That's an additional 20 yards from what could have been a good play, but what ultimately turns out to be a great play because he is so dynamic in the running game. I think that, again, just kind of shows you the kind of player that he is. But just a couple more plays in this one, and then we are all wrapped up with him. Go through to the 15:49 mark. Look at that. Beautiful. Showing you a little bit more of the physicality here. So, again, they get the tight end on a down block, 1 broken tackle, 2 broken tackles. You get the speed, another broken tackle. 2 guys have to bring them to the ground there. I mean, that is just great stuff. So, I want to see it from the end zone view here. Because, again, I have this listed as physical, but just go through the motions here with me. So, you get this guy coming down on the cross block. It's blocked up well here, but there's not a lot of space here. You have to be patient, which is what he was. He gets that little sliver of space here where he goes right off of his guard's right hip, gets through there, bumps his center, but gets through there, makes that first guy miss, gets the angle, slows down, makes the second guy miss, and then you got to bring him down with multiple people. I mean, that is great stuff from him. Again, I think this is the last play that we're going to be going over from him. 29-29. I think I want to stop a little bit short here just so we can kind of get a picture of the game. So again, this is 24-17. North Carolina has the ball. They are in the red zone. It's 2 minutes left. A touchdown will put this game on ice. With that being the case, I know what I would want to do. We're down here. I need 6 yards. Field goal would be nice. A touchdown puts this game out of reach. I'm giving the ball to number 28. And that is exactly what North Carolina decided to do. So you'll see it here, and I'm going to stop it. This is a cluster of bodies and not a lot of room to go anywhere or make many decisions. And again, they're 6 yards out of away from the end zone. And let's take a look and see what Omarion Hampton decided to do to make sure that he got into the end zone. Goes over the top, goes through the defender, gets to the end zone, and is still on his feet. So again, look at it from the end zone view. All the bodies are on the ground. They tried to go low. They tried to cut all the linemen there. And Omarion sees it and immediately decides, I'm going to just go over the top with my 38-inch vertical. And I'm going to use the rest of my power to go through the linemen or the linebackers and get into the end zone. Again, this was a really fun film study to go through. And, I enjoy watching this. I do think he is a first-round talent at the running back position. I know we don't draft running backs that high. Of course, I think Ash Gency is going to be the number 1 back chosen in this draft, and that's deservedly so. But Omarion Hampton is really not far behind, in my humble opinion. And if you're able to get him towards the back half of that first round, then I think you would be a fool not to, especially if you think a running back can take you over the edge there. Running backs are making their return. We've seen Saquon get the big deal. We've seen Josh Jacobs get the big deal. They're coming back, and they are important. So I'm hoping that a team uses them very similar how North Carolina did. They run a lot of counter. They get guys in front of them, and they really just let him be him out there in the open field. But that is it this week for this episode. Next week, just like how we always do, we go offense one week, we go defense the next week. And next week, we are going to be going out to Eugene, Oregon, and covering Jabbar Muhammad, the cornerback, guy who I absolutely love. Again, he's another one very similar to Kyle Kennard, where I was seeing his games while he was at Washington, and he just stood out to the film. I'm like, who is this number 1 guy? Like, I need to know who he is, and I need to know what he looks like on film all the time. And so I'm really excited because I'm definitely going to look at, a lot of stuff from Washington, but I also want to see any adjustments that he made while he was over at Oregon as well. Because I think that's a guy who he'll probably be a end of day 2, early day 3 guy. But I think he has a ton of talent, and he could bring a lot of production to an NFL team, especially early in his career there. But yeah, so like I said, we'll be back next week. I appreciate all the support that you guys have been given. Just about 3 weeks left until we get to the NFL draft here. So it's coming right down the stretch here, and we've just got a few more film studies to go through the rest of this season. So yeah, I feel like I'm rambling at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and close it out, but definitely looking forward to seeing you guys again next week.